Okay, so let's do one thing. Let's create a couple of blogs, some dummy blogs, and see how these forms actually work and how we will get, how we use the API to get data back from these forms. So if I just go back here and let's say, let's blog page content, let me add a submission here. Let's call it blog number 1. And then author is John Smith. January 15, 25. And then just going to paste some text here, and okay, that. We should probably have made, we restricted this to 1,000 characters. That's definitely not enough. So for now, I'm just going to, we shouldn't have restricted it to 1,000. It should be a lot more than that. But for now, I'm just going to make this slightly smaller, and then I'm going to do a submit on this. And that's it. And then let me add another submission. Okay, so I made a couple of submissions to the blog page content. Basically means I've created 2 blogs. So if I click on that and then click on submissions, it's going to show me the 2 submissions that I made. Let me open this submission up in a new tab. And this is my submission right here. And then there's this button that says show data access via API instructions, and then it also provides me the URL for exactly how to make that API access. So I will need this in a bit. So if I go back here and I go back to my blog homepage content, what I will do is now I will say, okay, let's modify this, and then let's enter the blog page title. And just to remind you, this is equivalent to this page, and that's the title that I'm talking about. So let's say, let's call it blog home. Sorry, my bad. That's actually the blog itself. The page title is here, blog home. Let's say max blog summaries on page. I'm going to make them 18, and then the title, blog number 1. If we do want to show it on the page, let's make this rank number 1. January 15th. Let's add a tag. And then let's say and this here, this is where I'm going to actually paste the URL, the API URL. So let me copy that for this blog. This is actually that's blog number 2. Let's go back and rename this one blog number 2, rank it number 2, and then copy this and paste it here. And then for the summary, I'm just going to write just a it's just for testing purposes, so that's good enough. Let's save that and then add another blog summary here. This one would be, the title would be, what is okay, here, and I will save it, and then I will submit this form, and it's done. So if I go back to my data templates here, and then just to double check, see the homepage content, let's look at it. It's showing me all the data that I just entered. So before we can actually, actually access the information through an API, what we need to do is, let's take a look at the instructions here. So these are the instructions, and it's telling me you need to get an API key from the group information page. We'll go there in a second. We need to add at least one allowed domain to the list of allowed domains on the group information page. We'll get to that in 1 second. And then basically you need to send your API key in the request header, and the header ID for the API key should be XWDF API key, and you will also need to add an authorization header and set it to none. And it gives you exactly how you need to do that. So let's go to the group information page, and here we are. So if you scroll down a little bit, it's it's showing me my data access key. So if I click on that button, it will actually show me my data access key. I will get that in a second, but all you need to do to get your data access key is click on that button and get it. Actually, let me click on that, and there it is. So it's telling me, we need to keep this key confidential, and if it gets compromised for whatever reason, regenerate an API key and use that. And again, it's telling me how to use that API key, and here are the allowed domains. For now, I am just going to add local host as my allowed domain, and that's it. But over here you would put any domain that you will be using, like a domain which will be making requests through the API. So all those domains that you will be using need to be put in this list over here and whitelisted. If the request comes in from a domain that is not in this list over here, that request will be rejected. So let me copy that and then update this information, and that's it. Now we are ready to make our API access. Okay guys, now that we've created our data templates for the blog homepage, summaries, as well as the blog main page content, the last step we need to do is basically see how we can get this data through an API. Now we're following the instructions that have already been provided to us on the website. I have an API key here. The key is in this format right here, and that's my key. And then we also need another header and that should be authorization, and it should be set to none. I've copied and pasted the API URL for the the blog homepage content, the summaries. Let's see what happens. You send that request through, and as you can see, I have a response here, and here's my blog summary. So we have the date, we have the blog URL, we have a rank, we have a blog summary, main image URL, whether to show it on page or not, etc., etc. And we have this for 2 because we entered the data for 2. And then there's the blog URL is basically another API for each individual blog. So I'm just going to copy that and paste that in here and see, now we have a response for that, and that's our blog content right there. That's what we had entered, and as you can see, we have all the other information here as well: main image URL, author, etc., etc. So it's all there, and that's how you would access this data through an API. Now obviously, what you can do with this kind of the whole content management system is really up to your imagination. There's so much you can do. Almost anything that you need to any information that you need to store, and you need to have a UI to make changes to that information, and you need an API to access that information. If that's the case, this web data forms will do it all for you. It'll create the UI, you drag and drop, create the UI, you input the information, and then you use an API to access the information. So I think we mostly covered everything. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Like this video if this brought any value to you, and please subscribe. That way you will always stay up to date with our very latest videos. Thank you, and bye for now.